conditions. We know the mayor, the police chief, the fire chief, as well as public works director. They're along with the Madison County EMA director will be giving us an update on the city's response to what is happening right now.
This is an update that a lot of folks, including us, have been waiting for, wanting to hear from these people about what has gone right, what has gone wrong with the city and the handling of this some predicted snowstorm that turned into be more ice than snow, but definitely we will have more about that.
Yes, but first we're going to go ahead and get the latest from WAAY 31 Storm Tracker morning meteorologist Grace Anello.
I'm WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello. Road conditions are slippery, and I'm here in Huntsville feeling that exact same thing. Any rain that we had last night did refreeze into black ice. We are dry on 31 triple Doppler, and as we head through the rest of the day, temperatures are unlikely to change for us. Once we get just after lunchtime, we'll be sitting at right near 32 degrees. So the freezing mark, what that means is any melt we're going to see on our roads today is going to be cars driving in that friction. However, whatever melts tonight is going to refreeze as we head back into tomorrow. We do have a wind chill advisory in effect, and we also have feels like temperatures tomorrow morning sitting near 2 degrees. Now there is a light at the end of the tunnel. By the time we get to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, temperatures have rebounded back to the near 50 and then even 60-degree mark, which means our roads at that point will finally be back to normal. However, right now, if you do have to be out on the road, choose now the brightest parts of the day where temperatures are at or above freezing and when the sun is up. Those early morning and late evening hours, that's when conditions are too cold and water has refrozen. Stay safe out there. I'll be back with more in a couple minutes on exactly what you can expect coming up.
All right, Grace, thank you. Again, reminder, we are right now awaiting a news conference, an update from several city leaders, Madison County leaders about this ice situation that we're all dealing with. As soon as they are ready, we will bring that to you. Right now, though, I want to remind you, we're bringing some team coverage of these deteriorating road conditions.
Yes, we do have WAAY 31 anchor Marie Waxel, who is staying on top of the roadways, as well as WAAY 31's Dave Brazelton, who is along the parkway, and they've been checking everything out. Dave, what is it looking like near you?
At this moment, it is still frozen ice in a lot of spots. We had good news. The rain sort of softened the wintry mix, but by sunrise, when the temperatures dropped, it has gotten rock solid. Let me just give you a peek of Memorial Parkway and Maston Lake Road. Earlier, some barricades were put up at the access because it was just plain slippery. People couldn't get by. And now they've removed those, but traffic is still icy. So be extra careful out here, and especially if you check your treads on your tires. One way is the old penny test we used to do. Take a penny, place it with Lincoln's head upside down between two ribs of your tire. If part of the head is covered, your tires are still good. If you can see his entire head, you may want to reconsider going out in these icy conditions. There are slick spots all over the Tennessee Valley, and the best thing to do is keep posted with us. We'll let you know with complete coverage on air and online at WAAYTV.com. Reporting from the WAAY TV weather vehicle, storm tracker that is. See, I've been out here all day this week. Dave Brazelton, WAAY 31 News.
It is all good. We've been out a lot too, so we totally understand.
We know very well.
I mean, this morning at 4:30, he was all the way indicated.
He was,
right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's go ahead now and check in with WAAY 31 News anchor Marie Waxel, who's also been all across the valley for us this week.
Yeah, so Marie, what are you seeing out there right now? I know earlier you were a little concerned that things had frozen up around you quickly and you might not be able to move yourself.
Yeah, it was really wild. That's what we were talking to officials that were concerned that this was going to happen once we hit the 6 o'clock hour. And you know, when we were live on air, things were still moving quite smoothly, but we hit about 6:50, and then that is when it was almost right before our eyes. You could see the road just start to ice right back over. Those patchy spots that were once kind of few and far between really started reappearing right there in front of us. And Huntsville police, they were forced to close several roads. Of course, you just heard from Dave. Memorial Parkway back open, but Cecil Ashburn still closed those higher elevated areas. I know you guys are happy Montesano is back open, but still these secondary roads, these side streets, these parking lots, still a sheet of ice. This sunshine really is a welcome sight here in Huntsville. I want to show you just a look at some of the video of the crews out there, and this was happening right at 7 o'clock this morning. They were forced forced to close these roads, as we were talking about. Crews working as best as they can, really trying to regroup and assess what their next steps are. It's like every time they turned around, Mother Nature was hitting them with another punch just when they thought they had things under control. I did catch up with Huntsville City Administrator John Hamilton earlier today, because a lot of you at home were looking at the pictures of what's happening right across the state line into Tennessee, just down the road from us, and it seems like their roads are clear. So why can't Huntsville seem to get our roads clear? Here's what the city administrator had to say.
A lot of the major roads inside the city of Huntsville are actually state routes, and so ALDOT has to work those things, and so we certainly would defer to ALDOT on the resources they have available to work their pieces. You know, Governor's Drive, University Drive, those are all state routes, and so we rely on our partners at ALDOT to take care of those things. Overall, I think they've done a good job, but there certainly may be some differences in how, you know, state agencies are resourced in Tennessee versus Alabama. I know that they did do pre-treatment, but some of those pre-treatments again don't work when it's a freezing rain, and so people that are in areas where they got a nice dry powdery snow certainly could have expect differences versus areas that got a lot of ice.
So there you have it. You know, you think the city of Huntsville, a lot of these roads, though, are state roads, and they do have to defer and let these state crews handle it. But I also asked John earlier today, I said, you know, what will it take to get more resources? What are you doing now? And he told me that they are assessing the situation. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up at 11:30. Until then, if you are getting ready to head out, wait a little bit longer if you can. These roads are still slick. They are wet, and just allow yourself plenty of time to get to where you're going. No rush. It's Friday. We made it this far, and we got just a little bit further to go. For now, reporting live in Huntsville with coverage you can count on, Marie Waxel, WAAY 31 News.
Oh, you are so right about that, Marie. Thank you. Well, we did check in with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency this morning, and they say that all county roads in Lauderdale, Lawrence, and Colbert counties are being called impassable. Now, I do want to go ahead. We've been telling you about this news conference. I want to go ahead and get straight to it because it looks like we have them up now.
I believe it's starting now.
We have been having meetings throughout. We've been monitoring the National Weather Service. We've been monitoring TVA in their capacity. We have been huddling with local elected officials, County Commission Chairman Matt McCutcheon, Mayor Paul Finley, the Huntsville Police and Fire, the Madison Police and Fire, the Madison County Sheriff's Office, and the sheriff has been on the call. Our EMA, our HIMSI, ambulance service has been on the calls to make sure that we're meeting the needs that are necessary, and hospitals have been on the call. Each day we have been able to sit down and make sure that we're addressing whatever challenges are out there. And the end result has been that I think we've been able to get through this. We're looking forward to next week, 50s and 60s temperatures. But it's been a challenge for everybody, and to our citizens, thank you for the efforts you put forward, taking care of your neighbor, checking on your neighbor, making sure that they're taken care of. That is the key to all of us getting through this and getting through this in a healthy way. I'd like to introduce Chris McNeese, our Public Works Director. Chris has been out on the roads every day this week. He had a number of, I think he had 10 graders out yesterday, and they got a number out today. But they're trying to clear the roads as quickly as possible so that we can get back to normal. Chris, thank you for the job that y'all have done, and please thank your men for being out there in the cold weather while and making sure that we're all safe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. We have, like you said, we have a total of 10 plows out working right now, five plows mounted on dump trucks and 5 motor graders. And they're going throughout the city, getting the major minor collectors, trying to get those bladed off, get the ice and the little bit of snow there is, mainly ice, bladed off to the side to get a safe roadway surface for our traveling public. And right now we have a small fleet of trucks that are out spreading salt. We just got through with blading off the top of Montesano Mountain, going up Montesano Boulevard. We put some rock and some salt down on our way out, make sure we have good traction for the residents to come on and off the mountain. our focus right now is just get a lot of the major minor collectors cleared so that we can get traffic going, hopefully towards the end of this weekend, into the first next week. Like you're saying, I'm going to be welcoming these warmer temperatures as they come into Monday and Tuesday. But other than that, we're just doing our best. We're blanking the city, trying to make sure that we have salt on the road, make sure that we get this ice off so that everybody's safe when they're traveling this weekend.
We're now going to go to Huntsville Police Chief Kirk Giles.
Emphasize the work that they've been doing, and like they said, they're working hard day and night trying to keep these roads safe and passable. And I would encourage people to follow us on social media to get the updates, because just because the road is open now, it may close shortly thereafter, just because conditions do deteriorate. And they're working hard to try to keep them open, and we're trying to test and make sure. One thing I want to mention is, I mentioned yesterday, is since Monday, when this event started, up until about 9 o'clock this morning, we've had over almost 200 accidents that we worked. And over, I believe it's approximately 37 of those involved injuries. And what's significant about that is the fact that last year, our average number of accidents just in a week's time was 160. And if you take into account the daytime driving population that we have here versus what we've seen the last few days, is significantly lower in the last few days, and we're still well above our normal average. So we would emphasize and certainly would want people to stay home. I understand they're getting a little stir crazy. I get that. On a personal note, I got a family member that's out of town wanting to get back, and I've encouraged her and finally convinced her to wait till Sunday, because I do not want to see her get caught up in this. So we continue to work with Public Works and AlDOT to check the roads and make sure they're safe, as well as the fire department. And just emphasize to people, please be cautious. If you absolutely have to get out, please, you would kind of go over the reason why you're getting out, what the purpose is. If it's just a matter of getting out, don't just get out to go sightseeing. Please stay off the road, because we have a strain now on our emergency public services. And we'd like to, we're also, in addition to all these accidents we're working, we're still running our normal calls. So please understand that it's a strain you put on everybody, and just continue to follow social media in respect to opening and closing the roadways. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Huntsville Fire Rescue Chief McFarland.
Good morning, everyone. About the same as what everybody's saying. We're still really busy. We've got a lot of resources in place. We're running a normal amount of calls plus some. A lot of our specialty situations we're running into is we're having to transport patients using some ATVs that we've got to set up to transport patients, because a lot of places Hempsey can't get up to the patient, but we still got a lot of ice on heels and stuff and bring them down. But we're being successful at that. I'd like to, all of our folks, I'd like to thank all of our folks on Huntsville Fire and Rescue for being here and keeping everything running. A special shout out to our driver engineers. Don't want to jinx us, but they've done an outstanding job keeping our trucks on the road and not damaged. Really being careful and be careful where they're going. We're running a little slower. We're actually having to run the snow chains on our trucks, which is standard for fire departments. One of the issues we have, when you see us out with the snow chains on the truck and we're going slower and nobody else has chains on, that's because we don't get the option of picking the roads we get to go down. We can't just go down the good roads until we get all the hills cleared in the districts where we can get to every house safely. We'll have to continue to go slower and run those chains. So we're looking for the warmer weather, and Chris, I'll reach out to you. I may have some trouble spots that I may get y'all to help me with, that maybe just a few places that when we get toward the end of this, is just keeping our trucks in chains, if y'all can help us with that. But I know y'all been doing a great job with it, so I appreciate that. Same thing we said, just asking everybody, I know everybody's ready to get out, but just be careful. We're also working not only accidents with vehicles, but a lot of falls. It's really slick out there. So if you don't have to be out, if you have to be out, be just super careful and be really cautious of the ice and stuff. It's not just slushy snow right now. We're dealing with ice. So be careful and try to avoid the falls.
Okay, we're now going to go to the Huntsville Madison County EMA Director, Jeff Birdwell.
All right, thanks, Sydney. I guess now is as good as any time to actually stress preparedness. When events like this happen, you're looking at a stretch of 2 or 3 days, maybe longer. So one of the things that we always recommend is have a winter weather plan, but just a plan in general for any emergency. You need to be able to sustain yourself at home for 72 hours with things such as medication, food, water, any of the basic needs that you may have. I would like to mention all of them, but it's too much to mention here. But I will say we've got an excellent website, and you can go to our website for those tips, and we encourage you to do that. The other thing I would like to stress is, unfortunately, this event is not over. While everything may look good right now, but travel is okay. What I can tell you is the forecast is for temperatures tonight to dip down well below freezing, and then tomorrow, Saturday, to be in the teens and not rise any higher than the mid 20s. So we've got another stretch of really cold weather. The roads are already wet. So we anticipate, as everybody here on this call has anticipated or has said, that the roads are going to continue to be bad. So I think there is a glimmer of hope. We're looking at possible temperatures above freezing starting afternoon on Sunday, and conditions will get better. But I would like to reiterate that we're not out of the woods yet. So everybody still needs to remain vigilant, and we'll get through this. And I'll turn it back over to you, Sydney.
Thank you. All right, we will now take a few questions. Each media representative is asked to introduce themselves and their outlet. You can ask any of our city leaders here today one question and a follow-up. Please raise your hand in the chat, and we will ask you individually to unmute yourself to ask your question. We're going to get started, it looks like, with Emily.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Emily Mosner with News 19. My question is for Chris McNeese. First of all, thank you for all the work that y'all have been doing. You mentioned you're hitting those major roads, major collectors. Can you kind of talk about when you guys expect to hit those secondary roads, maybe some of those neighborhood streets that are still seeing a lot of ice? When can we expect to see, those kind of shift to be a focus?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking, Emily. We do have, I'd like for all the viewers to know that the City of Huntsville Public Works, we maintain a total of over 3,400 lane miles of road within the city limits of Huntsville. So we're doing our best to blanket the city to get all the major and minor collectors so we can get people on the larger roads. The secondary roads, we're going to do our best to eventually get to those as resources allow. If we can, ask everybody just to be patient and just stay inside, stay warm for now until we can do our best to get most of the roadways open.
All right, Emily, we'll let you ask a follow-up question if you have one.
I do have a follow-up question. It's not necessary for Chris, but for just the city in general. With the colder temperatures continuing through the weekend, do we expect any more warming shelters to open, or any still open? Can you maybe touch on that just a little bit?
I mean, I can take that. As far as I know, the same shelters that that the city has put out are still open and running, and will be open until there's not a need anymore. I don't have a definite termination of when they're going to close, but that's my understanding.
All right, so we are wrapping up that news conference. You just heard from the mayor as well as the fire chief, the police chief, public works director. They were just giving us an update on where things currently stand. A lot of you all have been calling into the newsroom wondering what's happening, and they were here to address any of those questions.
Now, they talked a lot about the progress they are making. One of the questions we did not get a chance to ask, but specifically Chris McNeese, he's the public works director, said he has a small fleet of salt trucks out and 10 plows working right now, 5 of them graders, 5 plows attached to trucks. I would love to know if that is a standard number of plows and salt trucks for a city the size of Huntsville. We are now Alabama's largest city.
We are.
And a question that I think throughout the day is a fair one that we must ask and must get an answer to, because there's no question there are a lot of roads across Madison County here in Huntsville that people cannot access.
Right.
And it feels a lot to me, and forgive me if I'm in the wrong here, I'm willing to be, but it seems to me that there have been some roads that could have been cleared quicker, could have been treated differently, and maybe we wouldn't have gotten to the point that we've gotten to here in, again, Alabama's largest city.
So we were not able to get that question answered right now, but trust me and believe me that we will get it answered. And once we get that, we're going to bring it to you on air and online at WAAYTV.com. So make sure you keep it locked right here. We'll have more after the break.
WAAY 31 Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello with 31 Triple Doppler.
I'm WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello in Huntsville. What we're seeing is a little bit of melting starting to occur. We had plenty of water come last night thanks to the overnight rain. Then that refroze this morning at the coldest part of the day, right in that 6 o'clock in the morning range. That left icy conditions. Now we're starting to see just a touch of that black ice and regular icy glaze start to melt. Does that mean that roadways are perfect right now? Absolutely not. But they're some of the best that we'll see all day as the sun continues continues to rise and we continue to very gradually warm. As we head through the rest of the day today, conditions will remain icy, especially on portions of roads that are not as widely traveled. Take a look at Decatur right now. That's exactly what we're seeing. We're dry from rain on 31 triple Doppler this morning, and we will remain that way through the rest of the day. Our afternoon high temperature will sit right near the freezing mark. Now, we will see more sunshine than we saw yesterday, but at no point will we be completely cloud free. The good news is, though, we will see more of that sunshine. Now, I do want to let you know, we do have a wind chill advisory in effect. This is for each and every one of us from 10 o'clock this evening until noon tomorrow. Like we've talked about so many times, that doesn't mean that our wind chills, our temperatures are getting bitterly cold. They are, but that's something different. This wind chill advisory is telling us how different our forecasted temperature and our feels like temperature are going to be. I'll go ahead and tell you, when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll be at 12 degrees, but we will be feeling like just 2 degrees. Now, our roads for the rest of this weekend on main roads are passable, particularly if you have a four-wheel drive car, a front-wheel drive car, and if you're exercising extreme caution. If you're on some of the side roads, they are not passable at this point. They're covered in glazes of ice, and as they start to melt, it just becomes liquid water sitting on top of glazes of ice, making any type of traction nearly impossible regardless of your vehicle. By the time we get to later next week, though, we will have warmer temperatures and we'll finally start to see those roadways get back to normal. So there's a lot to handle in the 10-day forecast. Remember that wind chill advisory tomorrow. When you first wake up and open up the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, whatever temperature that tells you, go ahead and subtract about 10 degrees because that's what you'll really be feeling. As we head through the rest of this weekend, temperatures remain quite cold, sitting at 23 degrees on Saturday and struggling to make it just past the freezing mark on Sunday. Now, next week, we will welcome back plenty of rain and even a few embedded thunderstorms. However, our high temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s, which not only will get our roadways back to normal, but we'll just feel good after such a cold week ahead. So we have a light at the end of the tunnel, but we do have a lot that we have to handle today and as we head through the rest of this weekend. Again, if you do have to be on the roads, choose the warmest parts of the day when temperatures are at or above freezing. Choose the sunniest parts of the day and choose the most widely traveled roads. That's the best way that you and those around you can stay safe. The good news is, as much sunshine as we see today, that will hopefully help us out with our evaporation and get conditions back to normal before too long. In Huntsville, meteorologist Grace Anello with weather coverage you can count on.
You're watching WAAY 31 News, midday.
And we are tracking winter weather affecting several streets in Huntsville. Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris Tatum.
And I'm Demetria Green. So travel still remains treacherous along some Huntsville city streets as those temperatures continue to dip.
So please use caution if you do have to get out on those roads. Of course, the best option is not to get out at all if you don't have to. Right now, we want to check in, though, with Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello for a check of that forecast and where things stand weather-wise.
We're at our warmest part of the day. As we head through the rest of the afternoon and evening, temperatures will cool yet again. We will keep some sunshine through dinner time, but keep in mind once those temperatures get well below freezing, refreezing of anything that melted today will take place yet again. As a result, main roads remain passable for four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive vehicles and very cautious drivers, while side roads do not and will not likely be passable until next week. Rain returns, but so do temperatures in the 60s, and that's a blessing.
Thank you so much, Grace. Well, we are bringing you team coverage of those deteriorating road conditions as temperatures continue to dip.
I want to go right now to WAAY 31 anchor Marie Waxel. She is live in Huntsville. Also, we have WAAY 31's Dave Brazelton out there too, braving these elements. I do believe first, though, we're going to go to Dave, not Marie. Let's check in with Dave.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about that is so relevant in this area is the residue that you get from the salt that is on the roads. It gets on your windshields, and if you don't have a proper windshield fluid in there, you're going to have a white front windshield. Let me just show you. This is from the our Storm Tracker vehicle here. You can see the residue there, but that is South Memorial Parkway at the Martin Road exit. You can see where the roads are relatively clear, but there are some icy patches, so drive extra careful. Defensive driving, as it's called. Reduce your speed because of these conditions. Do not follow other vehicles closely and refrain from sudden braking. And of course, stay with us. We'll keep you posted with continuing coverage on the weather from a station that gives you everything you need as far as weather's concerned, with coverage you can count on. I'm Dave Brazelton in the Storm Tracker, WAAY 31 News.
Yes, Dave, that is us. We are definitely giving you coverage that you can count on.
Indeed.
So now let's go ahead and check in with WAAY 31 News anchor Marie Waxel, who's braving those elements for us to make sure that you can stay safe while you're out there.
So, Marie, you've been out on those streets all morning. What's it looking like where you're standing right now, and where are you standing?
So I'm here at the corner of Governors and South Memorial Parkway. I'm going to take this out real quickly. I'm getting a little feedback in my ear. There we go. I can't hear you now, so don't ask me any questions. No, traffic's looking pretty good, moving along smoothly. Really, this is the most traffic we've seen out here all week. And so, I mean, it's good and bad, right? We still have plenty of slick spots out here, and whatever is melting today, we're hoping that it's going to drive, because everything that we've heard of with the temperatures going back down with meteorologist Grace Anello, the threat of refreeze is yet again very, very real and very likely going into the overnight hours. I want to show you a look at some of the road crews. You know, earlier in this hour, we took you to that news conference with Huntsville city leaders, and we were talking about the plows and the motor graders that are out there on the roads right now working to clear it. But many of you are asking, you know, we keep seeing what we seem an increase in this winter weather, and we're stuck right on the heels of what happened last Christmas and then now this year. So a lot of you have turned to us wanting, what will it take for the city of Huntsville to actually get more resources and more tools to treat roads when winter weather threatens? And I asked that very question to Huntsville City Administrator John Hamilton, and this is what he had to say.
We certainly could go buy a whole lot more snowplows, and I would tell you that most years they would sit idle 99.9% of the time. And so if we spend our taxpayer resources on that versus equipment that we need 365 days of a year every single year, those are choices that you know, we probably have not made in the past and won't necessarily make in the future. We are certainly taking lessons learned. I spent some time this morning with our Public Works Director talking through some of the things we've seen the last 3 or 4 days, and you know, how could we do it different next time. And so we're always going to look at those things. Equipment availability is one of those issues, and you know, the equipment is expensive, and as I say, most years would not really be necessary. And again, every event is different as well.
Every event is different, and you never really know what Mother Nature is going to throw at you, because ice and powdered snow and then below freezing temperatures for extended amount of times really plays a factor in the treatment that's being put down on our roads to make it safe for everyone, not just first responders, but for all of us. And, as an entire community. Now, we wanted to keep in mind, the threat, we are not out of the woods just yet, but moving forward, you've got pothole season. This is what they call pothole season, because we've had crews out there scraping the asphalt. They're taking away some of the top surface, so that's going to have to come out of the budget as well moving forward, making those necessary repairs, because I'm sure we would rather have smooth roads instead of us, bumping and banging our cars as we go forward into the springtime. So just be patient, and we are working through this with the city to get your questions answered, and we will stay in lockstep with them as they process what happened here and how to best move forward together as a community to keep everyone safe throughout the year. Reporting live in Huntsville with coverage you can count on, Marie Waxel, WAAY 31 News.
From the Shoals to Huntsville and Decatur and to Sand Mountain, these icy conditions are making for some treacherous driving conditions. And right now, joining us from Sand Mountain, specifically from Jackson County, we have Paul Smith with the Jackson County EMA. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning.
Well,
good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. Early in the week, we know that, I believe it was Monday, Tuesday, we were getting information from Jackson County that all county roads and all bridges were impassable. Has your situation there changed at all?
The situation has improved by today. Our public works crews did a yeoman's job this week, clearing our major collectors and some of our more heavily historically traveled county roads. And last night's rain and the temperature staying above freezing helped out quite a bit this morning. We're in the best shape we've been all week. With that being said, we still have some issues.
Now, those county roads in Jackson County, DeKalb County, Marshall County, I know because I like to drive out that way myself a lot, but some of them are pretty shady. How much is that affecting those roads being travelable or passable right now?
It's affecting those quite a bit. As a matter of fact, we have a section of Alabama Highway 117 that begins in Stevenson and runs up to the community of Flat Rock that is closed this morning simply because that whole section of highway is in the shade this time of year. The sun doesn't touch it at all. So it's closed this morning simply because of that reason.
Well, Paul, are you dealing with any issues with damage, with power outages, with pipes bursting, anything like that you're hearing a lot of in the county?
Not getting a lot of reports of that. I'm sure there's some pipe problems in some homes. I was without hot water myself for 3 days this week, or I'd say my wife was. I was here at the office. So utilities have done a fantastic job keeping the lights on. TVA had planned ahead for this power surge that they knew was coming, and they did a fantastic job communicating with us and letting us know that everything was going according to their plan. So as far as damage, no, it's just been more an issue for transportation this week.
Well, I have been living at WAAY 31, our station here, for 6 days now. I understand your concerns about the hot water, and I do feel your pain there. So at this point, on this Friday morning, what would you say to people who might be thinking about venturing out on roads, trying to get to or from somewhere that they may not necessarily have to go?
If you don't have to go, just take another day. Let's try to get some more clearing done on some of the county roads. The state routes this morning, with few exceptions, are in fairly good shape. Most of our county roads, like you said, in the shaded areas, the ones that are less heavily traveled historically, they're going to be an issue for a while. And with the temps falling again tonight and into the weekend, they will continue to be an issue till the temperatures warm up. And there's really nothing we can do about that at this point. We just have to wait it out.
Well, please know that we are certainly thinking about all of you out there in Jackson County, also across Sand Mountain in Marshall and DeKalb counties. And if we can be of any help to you in getting the word out about anything happening there, please call us, let us know. We will happily do that for you. But again, Paul Smith with the Jackson County Emergency Management Agency, we thank you so much for taking time to talk to us on this Friday.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thanks for being concerned.
My pleasure.
And a tragedy in Wisconsin highlights the need for you to have a life-saving device right inside of your home. Welcome back. The time is now 11:43, and I hate to report on stories like this, but there have already been 2 deaths in this winter weather that actually could have been prevented.
So firefighters in Wisconsin say carbon monoxide detectors would have gone a long way in saving 2 men's lives, and say it shows the importance of why we all need them in our homes. Now, firefighters say they are the only line of defense against that colorless, odorless, poisonous gas.
For the little bit of money that they cost, they save your life, which that's the most important thing.
Well, a variety of items in your home can release carbon monoxide. They include unvented kerosene and gas space heaters, leaking chimneys, and even furnaces and gas stoves. So please do be mindful of that. Well, it's so cold in Minnesota, first responders have a hard time right now with the life-saving drug Narcan.
That's because it's actually freezing up. So Narcan freezes solid when it goes down to 5 degrees, and that makes it impossible to administer it to someone to actually reverse the effects of a drug overdose. Narcan that repeatedly freezes will begin to lose its effectiveness over time. Well, stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, a plane full of people who survived without injury after their American Airlines jet slid off a runway. This was the scene, though, at New York's Greater Rochester Airport, International Airport. You can actually see firefighters there helping 50 passengers get off that plane. That would be terrifying.
It is. And the nation's midsection is getting hit hard by this heavy snow. This is some new video of those blizzard conditions in Grand Island, Nebraska. And it's not just the snow that's causing those problems. Wind chills will go as low as negative 25 degrees tonight. We thought we had it bad up here. Well, the cold and snow is hitting an area that got heavy snow just 1 week ago.
And check this out from Indiana. South Bend firefighters braved icy conditions, I believe we mean, to save a dog. Now, they rescued Ollie after the pup chased a goose and wound up in the partially frozen pond. So thank you to those firefighters. Ollie now back home safe and warm. Ollie, leave those geese alone.
Yes, stay away.
And check out this amazing rescue. A calf got stuck in an iced over pond in Arkansas. Couldn't get its footing to get out of that water. So one man used his lasso to rope that calf and pull it to safety, of course, reuniting it with its very worried and very anxious mother. Look at that cute little guy, or girl.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello with 31 Triple Doppler.
I'm WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello in Huntsville. What we're seeing is a little bit of melting starting to occur. We had plenty of water come last night thanks to the overnight rain. Then that refroze this morning at the coldest part of the day, right in that 5-6 o'clock in the morning range. That left icy conditions. Now we're starting to see just a touch of that black ice and regular icy glaze start to melt. Does that mean that roadways are perfect right now? Absolutely not. But they're some of the best that we'll see all day as the sun continues to rise and we continue to very gradually warm. As we head through the rest of the day today, conditions will remain icy, especially on portions of roads that are not as widely traveled. Take a look at Decatur right now. That's exactly what we're seeing. We're dry from rain on 31 Triple Doppler this morning, and we will remain that way through the rest of the day. Our afternoon high temperature will sit right near the freezing mark. Now, we will see more sunshine than we saw yesterday, but at no point will we be completely cloud free. The good news is, though, we will see more of that sunshine. Now, I do want to let you know, we do have a wind chill advisory in effect. This is for each and every one of us from 10 o'clock this evening until noon tomorrow. Like we've talked about so many times, that doesn't mean that our wind chills, our temperatures are getting bitterly cold. They are, but that's something different. This wind chill advisory is telling us how different our forecasted temperature and our feels like temperature are going to be. I'll go ahead and tell you, when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll be at 12 degrees, but we will be feeling like just 2 degrees. Now, our roads for the rest of this weekend on main roads are passable, particularly if you have a four-wheel drive car, a front-wheel drive car, and if you're exercising extreme caution. If you're on some of the side roads, they are not passable at this point. They're covered in glazes of ice. And as they start to melt, it just becomes liquid water sitting on top of glazes of ice, making any type of traction nearly impossible regardless of your vehicle. By the time we get to later next week, though, we will have warmer temperatures and we'll finally start to see those roadways get back to normal. So there's a lot to handle in the 10-day forecast. Remember that wind chill advisory tomorrow. When you first wake up and open up the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, whatever temperature that tells you, go ahead and subtract about 10 degrees because that's what you'll really be feeling. As we head through the rest of this weekend, temperatures remain quite cold, sitting at 23 degrees on Saturday and struggling to make it just past the freezing mark on Sunday. Now, next week, we will welcome back plenty of rain and even a few embedded thunderstorms. However, our high temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s, which not only will get our roadways back to normal, but we'll just feel good after such a cold week ahead. So we have a light at the end of the tunnel, but we do have a lot that we have to handle today and as we head through the rest of this weekend. Again, if you do have to be on the roads, choose the warmest parts of the day when temperatures are at or above freezing. Choose the sunniest parts of the day and choose the most widely traveled roads. That's the best way that you and those around you can stay safe. The good news is, as much sunshine as we see today, that will hopefully help us out with our evaporation and get conditions back to normal before too long. In Huntsville, meteorologist Grace Anello with weather coverage you can count on.
Thank you, Grace. Up next, playing in the snow and ice. A look at snowman pictures and videos that you were so kind enough to share with us. And welcome back. We have about 5 minutes to the top of the hour. I do want to go back and check in one more time with WAAY 31 News anchor Marie Waxel.
She's been out on those streets all morning in Huntsville. What are you seeing out there, Marie?
Yeah, so traffic is moving along nicely, slowly but nicely here on Governor's Drive. No major issues to report at this time. Just take it slow if you are going out. Slushy, patchy ice on your side streets and your secondary streets still going to be pretty dangerous for you if you do head out. But these main roads are moving along nice and smoothly. Governor's Drive is especially important for a couple of people I know looking excited to get off of Montesano Boulevard. And Chris and Demetria, before I toss it back to you, I just want to thank you guys for your care and concern all week long. You've been up there 24/7, but your concern has kept us all warm in the field and at home all week long. We thank you for what you do.
Oh, no,
And
you
same
are just
to
so
you,
kind.
Marie.
That's what I was going to say about you all. They're out there in the cold.
Yeah,
right now.
we've had it
It's
easy
freezing.
compared to you, and we are grateful for your coverage.
really
Thank
are.
you. And we love you.
Group hug. Well, lots of you did share your pictures from this winter weather.
I want to show you some of them quickly here. First of all, check out this snowman. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. So Tara Snow shared the picture of the snowman she built in Tony. You can see it's got a state trooper's hat on. They called this Trooper Snowman, and his message there, stay off those roads.
And all this ice just wasn't the most conducive to making a snowman, but this family happened to manage.
Look at that little carrot nose.
I like that. That is so cute. That's what William Batchelor sent into our newsroom. Great job at doing that.
We love that. I'm hoping we're about to get off this mountain and go home and make a snowman ourselves.
Oh yeah, I love that. Well, make sure you keep it here on WAAY 31, coverage that you can count on.
See you back here at 4.